And this is the Below Average Angler Podcast.
Let's give her a big
It's
old
already
cheers.
popped.
Cheers.
Let's cheers it up.
Cheers.
Let's go. Below average angler.
Round one.
Today I was the below average angler.
Hey, I know that feeling.
That's how it happened.
What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's installment of the Below Average Angler. I'm Ian Freeman. That's Clint Bartlett, and we got our special guest right here with us. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Dalton Tumblin.
Heck yeah.
Photographer for bass. Other than that, just a weekend warrior of fishing, and that's about it.
Damn straight. Heck yeah, man. Well, I'm glad to have you here. Super pumped.
Heck yeah,
Super
man.
pumped.
It's
We're
been a fun
excited.
day.
So pumped that I don't care how far out of the way I traveled, I was coming to get you, dude. I was coming to get you. Your truck's in the shop, and I feel for you on that, but I'm so glad that you're here now.
Heck yeah, we're glad to have you, man. It's been a blast. I'm glad we got to go out fishing today. Hopefully we get some fishing in tomorrow. And today was a little tough. It was we went out fishing on our home body of water, Old Glen Vegas, and she was a little tough. Dalton had to get used to some dragging in
Yeah,
about
man.
40 foot of water today.
That early winter stuff it's not always the funnest, but sometimes it can be just super, super fun.
Yeah.
But it's always a grinder no matter what way you look at it.
Yeah.
You know? But that first part of the day, man. I mean, what did we start off doing this first part of the day?
We tried to make something happen, and
Did we run straight to the one creek and just,
yeah.
I mean, we were throwing a lot of, I was throwing that like vibration bait, that blade bait.
Threw the glide bait a little bit, didn't get any follows. You got some follows on spy bait.
That was odd. Man, inches on the ass end of that spot.
Big old smallmouth following out the spy bait. That was pretty cool. Dalton,
Twice.
how many follows did you get today?
None.
It was
Nothing.
pretty damn tough.
Dalton
Right.
did have that jig rod glued in his hand for
Yeah,
the first part
he
of the
threw
day.
a jig a good bit.
So much to choose from, but it didn't happen for me today whatsoever.
How does that differ from the bodies of water that you're close to, being from upstate South Carolina?
Yeah, correct.
Western South Carolina, is that accurate?
Upstate Western, like right on the border of Georgia. I live on Lake Hartwell. It's more high pace. I'm not used to fishing slow. I'm not used to throwing, something out there and just dragging it
In the middle of nowhere.
in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking about nothing but straight bank, nothing overhanging, no lay down, nothing. It's just like wherever you can cast. Hey, I promise you there's some rock out there. Just cast in that direction and start dragging. And
Once you feel the rock, it's going down.
like, okay, so I got so much tackle. I got a jig, a double fluke rig. I ended up tying on a drop shot, and it was just like, nothing that I really worked. I didn't know what I was doing, really outside of my element. Super slow pace.
I don't blame you.
I'm used to high pace.
I hear you, man, and it's definitely tough to transition, especially coming off of this like late fall,
Yes.
kind of where we can still get them to react on these like lower elevation bodies of water. Like you were talking about, you're just going out there and fishing for these piranha like spots.
Yeah.
Used
And they're
to
just
the-
annihilating.
Used to the spotted bass on Hartwell, which are real aggressive if you get them at the right time. And if you don't get them at the right time,
Or all of the
it's
time.
pretty dead. But
Oh, okay.
either way, we're not dragging slow. We really don't do that much unless we're fishing a hump with a Carolina rig, which you hinted on.
I did.
You hinted on later in the day, but I was just like, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that, because I would have brought it.
You
'Cause
should
I know
have
how to
brought
do
the
that.
Carolina rig.
Definitely could have
I
rigged
mean,
you up one.
from east to west coast, the Carolina rig got to do something.
Well-
Our buddy Ron can definitely tell us a little something about that.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
even if I did have one on, I wasn't used to the element in
I
which
understand.
I would have been fishing a Carolina rig, because usually it's a brush pile on Hartwell. It's like you have
I
a
hear
point,
you.
you're fishing that, and that's what you're going to catch them on.
Yeah.
If you don't, run to the next one.
And I mean, that's still like covering water.
It's covering water.
Like you're out there on a big
It's
tapering
about
point
running and
thing.
gunning. Yep.
Yep.
And that's one of the things with history too, is once you start to get history on a body of water, especially such a small body of water like Glen Vegas, it's like we know they're here. We know they're going to be here. We might not be marking them on the graph, but we know at some point these fish are going to pull into this point, and it can happen in a split second. You can be fishing this giant stretch of nothing, and there is nothing there. And then in the next 10 minutes, there's going to be a whole school of giant smallmouth blowing up like we saw today.
Well, there's definitely nothing there at Winter Pool when the water's so low. There's nothing there. It's all sand. Yeah. It's all beach.
That's what blows my mind.
You could just about walk that whole lake in a circle because it's all. And I mean, I've seen it lower. You've seen it probably lower than anything.
I've seen it very
a couple years ago with Lance, and you said it was just god awful.
Yeah.
They had to be.
I saw it probably 15 or 20 foot lower than it was today.
Wow. Lower than it was today already, 8 or 9 foot low, maybe more. Yeah. Because I remember I was looking at the bank at the overhanging timber where I'd caught fish in the summer.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, I felt like a goober as I was doing it, and now. And and I'm like, damn, man, it's got to be 8 foot at least. At least. But, I mean, kind of made it work there at the end a little bit.
Yeah, so we ended up bouncing all over the lake, going to our favorite honey holes, all that. Of course, it's a Friday, which isn't crazy, but every place that I wanted to go for the first 3 or 4 spots, there's one boat there. So it was like...
And we're courteous enough to be like, you're there, you got the spot right now, for sure.
You got the hole.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, well, they might be here, they might be there. Well, they weren't. Everywhere we went, it was like, they're not here.
If they were there, they were just shut down and just hugging the bottom.
They were playing hard to get.
Just like, they were hugging the bottom with their eyes closed, just like,
We had a few on the Panoptics, and they just were not committing.
No. They didn't barely even follow anything out.
They wouldn't follow it, but even if they did, they'd be like...
Yeah. Because all of the fish we located today were around active bait. I feel like most of the fish we saw was around active bait fish schools, which almost everywhere we went, we had bait fish, but we didn't have active bait fish. They were just kind of chilling.
That was like kind of reassuring. Like, it would almost make you waste time when you would roll up to a spot and see just bait. Everywhere. Because when you think bait in the wintertime, you think lethargic fish sitting underneath them. Yeah. At least I do. You're looking at them, you're like, there's got to be a fat dog just looking up at them like, come on, man.
And they were lethargic. Like the ones we saw earlier in the day, we figured out like we were throwing moving baits towards them. We had jerk baits, double fluke rig. What else?
I was throwing a Kitech a lot.
Okay.
Just a little
perfect
saucy swimmer, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Had them on the graph.
Paddle tail swim.
3.5 inch exactly. Or what's even more key than matching that hatch exactly is just being that hair bigger.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have like added vibration, being like a blade or whatever. Just being that little bit bigger to key in on.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got hits.
So
they were just like,
that was the thing. Like we were moving those baits. We saw them on the graph, and it comes down to like. It's cold. They're more lethargic. We got them earlier in the day. They didn't hit it, and we were moving baits real fast.
Yeah.
Later in the day, we figured out, what'd you catch them on? What'd you catch them on?
Dead stick in a Ned rig.
Exactly.
That's tough right there.
It almost hurt me to say it.
You see them on the graph. They're following your bait. You're throwing a jerk bait. You're throwing double fluke rig. Can't get them to bite. Throwing Ned rig later in the day.
But also, hang on, I do want to point this out.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
Is that I was dropping down on fish with a Ned rig on live scope, watching them follow it down and not eat it. Most of the day.
I think it was a timing thing.
I think it was definitely a timing thing.
I think most of the places that we were could have produced a couple of fish. Maybe not as good of fish that we kind of stumbled into. Yeah. Not really stumbled because it's kind of like our lockdown spot when we're there. But I feel like if we were there, it's just that something in the stars align and fish go, I'm hungry.
Morning bite,
time.
afternoon bite.
But I mean, we were definitely at the proper place at the right time.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it was snatch and grab fishes.
No.
It was like dead sticking,
Sit here and dead stick for 15 minutes and bite.
moving an inch, moving 2 inches, and then slack line, dead stick. Look at that. Look at your light ass braid sitting there. Like, is it gonna move?
Yeah.
Now I'll go ahead and touch on that. My first bite. That first bite was all that braid. All that, I had that yellow braid, and I even watched my line to leader knot go, and then just start swimming off like that. And I gave it the absolute beans.
The beans.
I did too. I laid
did
into
give it the beans.
For a spinning rod. Normally, like, I'm a reel down type of dude, especially with any kind of finesse. But dude, I saw it take off, and I just said, it worked out. I think we'll see that.
We thought it was a catfish for a while. We can play some of that footage right now.
Oh, God bless it. I'm sorry. Well, if it did chip it, there's about 50 other ones, so I can't tell which one was mine.
You're fine.
Big
fish.
That's a big one.
Okay.
Oh, you got one?
Take him easy, son. Nice and easy. Loosen up that drag a little bit. I'll be there. Don't you worry, son.
What'd you throw on that some gun?
Ned, giant.
It's all right. Take her easy. Nice and easy. Don't straighten out your hook now. We don't need none of this. You're almost a leader though, right? I swear I just saw you're not. You're good. Take her easy, bud.
What is this?
We got all day. It's a dang big one is what it is. Just letting it eat. Take it easy. What is this? It's a big one. It's not small.
It's a fucking catfish or something.
If it is, that's fine. It'll still be cool. I can go ahead and set this net down.
Dude, please be ready with the net.
I will. But that thing's, oh shit. That thing's got you fucking pinned for a second. I can at least get some line out of the way.
Hey, come reel this jig up real quick.
Where's it at? It's way behind me. I don't think that's a bass, buddy.
What is it?
Oh, big old cat. Is it rolling at all?
I don't know. Just
Probably hard to tell on that.
I think it's a.
I swear.
I think it's a
a walleye?
I think it's a.
I just saw a glimpse of it. It's brown looking. Dude, this is big smallmouth on the side. It's like a 3-pounder. But you got it hooked in the side of the face. Is he wearing you out, son?
Yeah, my shoulder's about burning.
I saw him though.
I saw him too. He's a good one.
There he comes. Oh, nope.
No.
He said,
Stop. Stop doing that. Get him. Get him. Yes! 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 Woo!
that is a man.
That is a man right there. Whoo, that's a pretty fish.
Into the GoPro and the
That thing gave me the beans. Not even that big.
I personally was surprised because
Couldn't believe it.
I'm not used to fishing slow, and we got to the point where we hadn't caught a fish all day, right?
I mean, how long did that take us to actually get
4-5 hours?
Exactly.
at least 4?
So at that point, any, average angler is going to be, starting to dial down in their senses and start, giving up a little bit. Unless they're fishing a tournament, sure.
Yeah.
And then
PMA.
all of a sudden, you throw that Ned rig out and hook up. And we're like,
It's crazy.
It
Man.
flipped the day around for all of us because we were all kind of starting to get like down in the dump, like shit. We ain't gonna
for the
catch
most
shit.
part, we haven't been doing that all day, and then all of a sudden, it's like, oh my gosh.
Honestly, I was still pretty chipper. I was still pretty pumped up because I knew we were in Pine Creek, and I'm looking up. I'm gonna rip on you for a second. I'm looking up at Clint, and he's running all around looking at live scope, and I'm like, he'd be over there. He's chasing fish, and there was tons of bait and fish.
There's bait
hanging with the bait.
Fish chilling on the bait, but they were so keyed in on the bait that it didn't matter what.
They had everything they wanted to eat.
We threw the smallest we could throw. We threw like decent size. We never threw it.
They were 3-inch
anything
blueback
crazy.
herring. They were.
And
that's a hard bait to
really-
match.
That's something I didn't really like
You know what I mean?
bring up during our time of fishing was like when bait started schooling up. Like if you saw fish busting, sure, but like when you started seeing bait schooling, you were like, "Hey, there's bait over there. Let's do it." And I was all for it.
Can't argue with that.
I am so used to like on Lake Hartwell where there's so much bait for the most part. You see bait, you don't necessarily go to it. You're just like, that's just another school of bait. It's just
Okay.
It's just like when y'all basically when you were like, hey, there's bait over there, let's do it, or I see some bait moving over there. It's like
Something's gonna bring them up
you
for the
think
most
there might
part.
be some over there, but like most of the time when I see bait, I'm just like, unless I see a fish schooling, I really don't hone in on it.
Dude, I can't agree more.
So much bait that it's just.
I can't agree more. Just for the simple fact that when I see even on that small body of water, when I see happy bait, that's what I call it. I call it happy bait, and that's
Happy
bait
bait.
that is just chilling, doing its thing.
Yes.
Very spread out on the graph. You see them
Happy.
It's like you can't tell between is that bait or is that just wind?
They're just up there. They're just yeah. They're just up there tingling, eating their little phytoplankton and whatnot.
Yeah.
But there's also bait that's
Fido's
like,
out of frame. So.
if you've been keeping up with us, you should know what the fuck.
Yeah, you should know what Fido out of frame means.
Been out of frame.
Yeah.
Oh shit! But like when they're moving, the way we saw them on a number of occasions today, just going 15 miles an hour on the surface. A big old thing as big as this living room.
They're not happy bait.
That's not happy. That's
They're
scared.
moving.
That's scared bait. Yeah. And that's what we look for. So that's what you're saying. If you see bait on Hartwell going and like running from something.
I'm talking about bait on the graph where they're just.
Oh, okay. Oh, like a cloud. Just
like
a big
a cloud of bait
Yeah,
on the graph.
yeah.
It's
Okay.
like, if
You're
we
not
don't
even
see
talking just surface activity.
If we're looking on the graph and it's just bait, it's just like.
That's great. It's good that they're.
And we saw plenty of bait today that was inactive.
But you have to determine whether it's happy bait or just.
Yeah.
Sushi bait.
You're getting fed up. Sushi bait. Yeah.
Sushi bait.
That sashimi's herring. But like on the graph, when I see bait on the graph, I just feel like I'm close.
Yes.
That's what goes through. That's what. Yeah. Like, but that's like huge area.
Yes.
And then from there, it needs to go like from a huge area to a spot, and then from a spot to the spot in a spot, which me and you have talked about as long as we've known each other.
Yeah.
That spot on a spot that it's like you put that bait there at that speed, whether that be Mach Jesus or Mach nothing.
Ned rig.
Yeah.
Mach nothing.
Mach
man.
nothing. That's crazy though. Depth and speed, man. Location, depth, and speed.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
But then,
It's fucked up.
so once we finally landed on said location that we had previously anticipated was going to be good,
You're like, I'm trying to go here so I can catch fish.
Yeah, I said I need to go to this spot so we can catch fish. And we still fished that spot for like 20 minutes before we got a bite.
You're not wrong at all. At least 20 minutes, maybe 40. Maybe 40. I think 40 minutes probably, because we worked our we didn't start at the mouth, but we definitely started at the outer skirts of the business end.
Yeah.
Which fuck, we're not being specific, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah. but then so Ian catches a smallmouth that we all thought was a catfish or something else because it was digging like a freaking excavator.
Dude, that thing was a machine.
Yeah.
I love those little brown bastards.
No.
It wasn't even that big. It was approaching 3.
It was a good, I'd call it a solid 3 pounds.
You think
it was close? Yeah. I think it was close to 3. It was just like it wasn't very long, but it was just dadgum.
Bulldozer ass smallmouth.
Little bruiser.
It was a haul, so that's awesome.
I wasn't mad about it. Not gonna lie, the largemouth after that, I was almost more happy about. It was good to see like a built largemouth like that, just like gutted with the big mouth, short as could be though. Yeah. Short as could be, but just again another, and that's kind of what that
linebacker largemouth.
Linebacker.
But isn't it amazing how like that largemouth didn't fight half as hard as that smallmouth did?
It's incredible.
It was just
crazy.
Ridiculous.
Night and day.
It was probably smaller than that smallmouth.
By a hair.
Right?
By a hair.
Maybe. Or the same size. Twice as long to reel it in.
Good, big and tight, all right. Give me that large jaw.
Yes, sir.
If I could get my they rig. Large jaw. Woo! Make them look big. That is a man. That's a good one. That is a good one, though. Solid. Look at that belly. That's a wintertime Glenville bass fish. Fat boy. He built like us. Below average angling there. It's fat. Oh. One more little side. He's short. Short. But man, isn't that a pretty little bass? I'm a pretty bass fish, short and stout. Got them red lips from eating the crawfish. Drop that Ned rig down. I like looking at you. Oh. Look at that belly. I love you. I love you. Love you, old girl. I love these fish. Woo! You go.
Dude, the largemouth came straight to the net. The smallmouth
or 3 times as long to reel it in.
Pin.
The smallmouth dug forever. Yeah, we'll compare the times.
I mean,
I think
you'll see the video.
I think we should put up just like time counter at the
bite
end.
timer.
Yeah. Okay. Bite to land.
Twice as
and then
much
that ratio. I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm curious because I would say they're comparable fish.
Yeah.
As far as catching like a dandy little largemouth and like a dandy little smallie.
Oh yeah.
Both 2.5 to 3 pounds a piece.
And they were both spunky. That's just what that spot has to offer, though. Like we've never found anything less than like healthy fish on that spot. Yeah, it's just.
Our 2 smallest fish we caught today were probably the smallest fish I've ever seen off of that spot.
I can't argue with that.
Oh, that's a bite. Yes, sir. Net. I got the net. Coming in with the net. Oh, you're just gonna boat flip him? Yeah. Attaboy. That's a man. I was gonna slap him, but I didn't want to. Is that on a Yigopotamus? Shaky nog. Shaky. All right. Good fish. Dalton?
That was a little bit too fast for my camera work.
You're up, Buttercup.
I am up, goddammit. Get a jump out of him. Or not. Or not.
He stomped it, though. They're getting smaller, boys.
They are. In the mouth. Cletus's guide service.
It was my idea to come to Pine Creek. Little feller, but still a dandy. Let's let him go.
Because I finally caught one after he had his 2. I finally caught one on a freaking shaky head. I took my jig off and tied on a shaky head. Still on 16-pound test, like a beefier setup, but...
Dude, beefier?
What?
You're throwing a shaky head on a 7-foot heavy.
Yeah.
Accordion.
16-pound
Fight
test.
about it.
Oh,
Fight
I'm
about
not gonna fight about it because I'm used
Well, I
to it.
normally throw it on a spinning rod. I just didn't have. I wanted to keep my Kitech on my spinning rod, and that was the only spinning rod I had on the deck.
I mean, I'm not mad at it. It's just funny to me.
Yeah.
it. Just fun.
I like it.
Don't want to fight about it.
I don't.
Oh no, I had a Ned rig on my spinning rod, and I didn't want to take it off because he was catching fish on it. I had.
Almost
And
over
then I
there.
started throwing
Yeah.
it, and I didn't catch any fish.
No, we're terrible guides. We
We're not
didn't.
good
We didn't
guides.
put our guest on a single Glenville fish.
To be honest, he had everything he needed.
Until
We should have had him throw the Ned rig from the beginning, but I also didn't think that.
We were trying to cover
I've
water
never
at
caught
the
a bass on
beginning.
Glenville on a Ned rig.
Dude, the water temperature was in the low 50s.
Yeah, it was decent. Like it was warmest day we've had in a long, probably 3 weeks.
That brought up that surface temperature, but I'm sure deeper it was still stable. Maybe mid 50s, down in that like 20-foot range.
God, I gotta stop yawning. I've yawned like 75 times on this podcast so far. I think it's just because you said we need to stop yawning in podcasts.
Let's count it.
Oh, we got a yawn counter now? Do we have a yawn counter?
Well, okay,
I mean,
we might.
It's going to backfire on me because I do it too.
My guess right now is gonna be 12. I think I've yawned 12 times during this.
That's your guess? I don't think I've had one yet.
Neither one of y'all have, I don't think.
I'm fired up.
But I've definitely have like
you
fucking
already
choked it
talked
down.
Nice. But, so Dalton, dude, again, fucking blast to have you out there on the water. We're going to do it again tomorrow. But, like, give us a little bit of, like, what you're up to, what you're doing, and just, like, fishing for Dalton on, like, a weekly basis.
Fishing for Dalton on a weekly basis is mainly just going on Lake Hartwell. That's where I'm from. Spotted Bass Lake. A lot of fluke. A lot of drop shot.
Fluke,
a lot of
drop
brush
shot. Okay.
piles,
Sounds like a place we know pretty good.
a lot of running and gunning. Basically, nothing like what I did today.
Really?
Yeah.
Not
okay,
a
but, like-
single, not even close.
It's still...
I told them earlier, I was like, this is so out of my element. So, and this is a whole different topic, but like the lake level being so low, I've never like approached a lake for the first time and it looking like there's like 10 foot of just nothing.
Really? That surprises
On the
me.
We should take him to Fontana.
There's a swimming hole.
Fontana would freak
Not
him
a bad
out.
idea.
There's a swimming hole.
That's not a bad idea for
how
tomorrow.
there's yellow ropes go around the swimming hole. The yellow rope is laying on the ground.
The beach.
Not even
Like the
in
man-made
the water.
beach area, yeah.
I don't. And it's all.
It was what,
sand.
3 or 4 foot out of the water? What
There's
would
not,
what
like-
would be
There's not
6?
We're
7?
going to Fontana tomorrow.
You think so?
I'm calling it now.
Fontana,
You ever
Do
been
you know
there?
about it?
Lake Fontana.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
You know about it?
You been there?
I've been there a couple times.
Nuh-uh.
The banks that go like this.
What
It's a mountain valley
Yeah.
lake. Yes.
You been there?
you been
I've
there?
been there. Yes.
With who?
With
Well, you don't have to say. Never mind. I
if
didn't know it was
your
like
ex-girlfriend. It's
touchy.
fine.
yeah, it's a family vacation place. but
Okay.
Okay.
Didn't catch any fish there. Really.
Yeah, it's awful.
A few, but
Last time I was there, I
it's,
caught 5 fish. My biggest one was like 1.25 pounds,
so really
14 incher.
Other than today, for the most part, I've never been to a place that had steeper banks where you just
I haven't.
casted into nothing.
No, see, I have to disagree about that.
What did we cast into?
I don't know where the fuck you were.
Where were you?
No, I mean, I'm just fishing like, when I go there, I fish the bluff
No,
wall.
Yeah, he's talking about Glenville.
Glenville.
Oh, I thought you were talking about, I'm sorry.
Just cast into the middle of the lake.
Well, yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not.
But that's
dissing.
because
I'm not dissing.
So imagine fishing a flat
I don't know
on
what I'm doing.
fishing a flat in the springtime on Hartwell where you're just fan casting on a 5-foot deep flat. Well, we're just fan casting on a 40-foot deep
just
flat
add
with just
30,
deep ass
35
baits.
foot of water. It's not
I'm fishing laydowns and I'm fishing docks all
target.
year round.
So target
I'm
cover.
fishing
Yeah.
points more than anything with a fluke or a jerk bait, and
It's still.
I'm not dissing it. I'm not.
You can't.
I
It
can't
works.
because you caught them today.
Well, just like I've
You
caught them.
caught a limit today,
Dude.
Almost.
Nah, I didn't catch the limit.
I said almost.
But I did almost. I did have 5 bites today. That's it. Jerk bait
And the ones you caught were good.
and 3, and then I missed one at the end.
Well, what I'm saying is from where I live and all my experiences, like traveling around to all these lakes, this one lake we went to today is so far out of my element, out of everywhere I've been,
Well, you know what?
because it's just like just drag and dead stick everywhere.
It's not always
And
like
it's
that.
So like,
Dude, I've seen 46-degree water
crazy
temperature,
to me.
46-degree water temperature in February. This cat was throwing a weightless fluke
wow.
in 3 foot of water. 4.9, 4.12, something like that. Something like that. Caught almost a 5-pounder, but it was so thick. It was a shorty. It was another one of them shorties and thickies.
It was thick.
It was so thick.
We can pop up a picture. I bet you I can find that on my Instagram.
I think I had it.
Because I remember lying on my Instagram.
Saying it was
Because I said the
6.
deep bite
Oh, yeah.
is on fire.
Yeah.
I said the deep bite is on fire, knowing good and well I caught it out of like 2 foot of water.
Early February on that lake, in that pocket with the waterfall, right fucking there, dude. And we caught a number
We
of
caught a
fish.
fuck ton of fish that day.
I caught 2, and like I wasn't even into them. The fluke was the thing, and I didn't have shit to throw a fluke on.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything.
It's honestly a compliment.
It's the
because
craziest lake.
Out of all the places I've been to, I learned something new today. I
Dude,
did.
that place will
And
kick
it's
your
like
dick in year round.
The fact that you two, out of all the places you have been and that y'all have seen, along with me, really, it's like
Kind of.
this place is like it's kind of one of those places where if you got to know the deal, you got to know what you're doing.
It's that. It is that.
It's not-
It's a
it's not
special.
But you got to figure out the deal that day you're on the
That
water.
day, it's a special place,
yeah.
man. It's a really special place.
But
just
you can agree it's not one of those lakes where you can just go and just flip docks all day and catch them.
it's the highest elevation lake on the east coast of the United States.
Yep.
It's
3,300 feet.
34.
34. Yeah.
3,400 feet elevation. My house, that if you kept going, you remember how we turned down to the boat ramp?
Mm-hmm.
If you kept going, my house went up a mountain another 700 feet. My house is at 4,050 feet is where I used to live. It's a high-ass elevation, and I don't know of another lake. I've heard that a number of times from a number of different people. Don't quote me, but I've heard that a bunch. That's the highest elevation lake on the East Coast. It's just
East of the Mississippi, I think. I think there's like a couple other
East
ones
of the
in like
Mississippi? Okay.
Colorado and like Idaho or
Well,
some
that's not
shit.
the East
but, like,
Coast.
yeah, no, I'm saying east of the Mississippi.
It's like mountain lakes are just a different animal.
It is a totally
Just a
different animal,
different
but what's cool...
Clear
why
water
when
too.
you
We
say-
haven't had rain in 3 weeks.
That's why when you said Fontana,
Yeah.
and I got so like
You're like...
weird about it,
Yeah.
because that's the first mountain lake I ever fished in my life.
Okay. Like Highland Reservoir, we'll say.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely hated it because super steep banks,
Bitch.
and clear water.
Can be a bitch.
And I'm used to
100%.
I'm used to throwing into laydowns, docks that are in.
And in the
5 to
summer, and in the summertime full
water.
pool, that's the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
On
I don't know.
Fontana.
I'm
That
just
only
saying,
how long do you think that lasts? Summertime full pool on Fontana. 3 months?
June to late
July?
August.
I don't know where I was. I wasn't in no less than 10 foot of water right on the bank. I'm talking. It's a mountain valley.
No, you can pee on the bank in Fontana and be in
it goes
60
straight
foot.
down to
Yeah.
a 50, 60, 100 foot right
Yeah.
off the bat.
Yes.
That's where I was.
Yeah, that lake gets
And
450
I
foot
didn't know
deep.
where I was. I couldn't.
Really?
450 foot deep at the dam.
Yeah.
It's one of the deepest lakes in the
Fuck.
state.
And that's why I was
Joe,
like, I
Joe
hate
Cassie's.
mountain lakes.
I've marked 365 on Joe Cassie and freaked out. I was like, 306. That's like offshore shit. I've never seen that 4. I've never seen that 4 number on my graph though.
Yeah.
That's cool. I've never been to the dam on Fontana. Not once. Not once. But yeah.
Fontana is a weird lake, though.
Oh no
It's
shit.
a very weird.
Yeah.
It's a motherfucker.
That's why there's no tournament.
Any lake that drops
there
85
are.
feet in the wintertime
Big-
is
big-
a little
big
crazy.
Oh no,
because
no,
it's such a
big time.
weird lake.
I would like to see an elite event out there.
It's weird.
It would be cool.
I would love to see an elite event out there. They could do it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have an audience.
But it's so weird, though, too. The fishing.
Robbinsville's not going to pay for him. Bryson City's not going to pay for him.
No.
It's got to be a big city.
Yeah.
It's such a particular.
It's weird how it gets into the politics like that.
It does. Speaking of bass and the elites, tell us about your job of Bassmaster. How you got into your job of Bassmaster?
Very curious.
Because I remember seeing you like 5 years ago before I knew who you were and being like, that dude's cool.
Yeah. Right.
He's got a dang IX Pro 718, man.
Ian is a
I don't even
camera
know what that
man.
means.
Sounded like a printer.
Y'all and your cameras, I'm trying to learn, but I can still talk shit while I
You even
learn.
said today, you were like, "Thank you guys for holding off all day." And,
I couldn't believe it.
throwing around the camera lingo.
Dude, I couldn't believe it. It took y'all four and a half hours to start talking about cameras. I was blown away.
We did pretty good. I think we were both focused too hard on catching fish.
Hey, but
Especially at that
it only lasted for
point in time.
Yeah,
2 minutes.
we were quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Quick and easy. All right, get into your Bassmaster story.
So it kind of fell in my lap. So, in my opinion, as far as like, getting the job you have or going where you're going to go in life, at least half of it has to do with who you know. And
Very true.
so I was majoring in visual communications in college.
Don't point at me.
And that's just basically media and PR. And I was on the fishing team at the University of South Carolina. And
Heck yeah, dude. Go Cox.
And so Geddes Brennan, who used to work for Bass, came to the fishing team. Him and Patrick Walters, who is an Elite Series pro right now, won a national championship.
We're familiar.
And them two fished together. He worked for Bass, came back and was like, "Hey, there's an opening position at Bass for media content. Is anybody interested?" They want to go to somebody that's in the pool, somebody we know kind of deal.
Really cool.
And so he came to the fishing team and asked, and I was basically the only one there that did visual communications type stuff, media, photo, video kind of deal. So I put my name in the hat. Geddes met with me out to eat one night, introduced me to who is my boss now, and they sent me to a college tournament. I photographed that for 3 days. Had to miss out on fishing it because I was in college at the time. I was supposed to fish it, but
Where was it?
it was Lake Norman.
You're
That was
good.
the start of my hate on Lake Norman. That was the start of it.
Well,
It was not because of my job. I love my job, but Lake Norman, oh my gosh.
It's rough.
The coldest and the most rainiest tournament I've ever been
oh, really?
in my entire life.
What time of year was it?
Hang on.
First tournament
you there?
I've ever been to.
When homeboy dumped his boat?
Yeah.
Yeah?
2018, January. Was it in January?
January 2018?
It was like February. It was February.
It might have been February.
2018?
It was cold as...
And it never stopped raining?
Yeah.
Yes.
You were
I
there?
was fishing that tournament.
It was awful. And I was supposed
So
to fish
crazy.
it, but instead I had to cover it. And it was awful.
Would you have rather fished it or shot it?
I'd rather fished it.
Really?
I'm
Okay.
working with $6,000 of camera gear.
Oh,
here,
shit.
And it's getting rained on.
But you-
and I'm freezing cold. And the
We-
money, don't get me wrong. I'm getting paid. But You know,
More than we got paid for fishing the
I'm
tournament,
in
I'll tell you
college.
that.
I'm in college and I've been, fishing competitively for 2 years now, and I'm.
You were you were a little sore that you weren't in the run-ins.
compete. Yeah.
Okay.
And all my gear that I bought myself is, getting rained on.
Your
It's
camera
getting
gear.
wet.
Yeah.
But anywho, I did that tournament
That's crazy.
and they loved it.
That he was there.
I think we were definitely at the same tournament.
That's crazy.
I remember.
Did you see somebody drop a boat off a trailer?
I don't know, but I know one thing.
Isn't that what happened?
No,
It might have
they
been
didn't put
the-
their plug in. He didn't put the plug in our
The
boat.
plug. I thought his boat fell off the trailer and you had to get it back on the trailer.
It might have been the
That's
coldest.
something else.
Might have been the coldest. Definitely the most rainiest
Yes.
tournament I've ever been at.
It was so bad.
But I'm still using the same camera body till this day.
Oh, no shit.
No shit. Same camera body, and after all those photos I sent to Bass after that college tournament that I didn't get to fish, had to photo cover it, and I was a little bit, on the edge about it. They were like, "We're gonna hire you. Stay
Pretty
with
good.
us, stick with us." And so
Uh-huh.
I was like, "You know what? We're good." So after that, my very next tournament, after that college tournament, was the Bassmaster Classic on Knoxville.
That was 2018 then.
No, wait a minute.
I was definitely.
Tennessee River?
Yeah.
Tennessee River and Knoxville. That was
Odd
my
Defoe
very
won,
next
right?
tournament. I went from
What was he doing?
Did Odd Defoe win? Yeah.
yeah, Odd Defoe.
What was
Yep.
he doing? Cranking?
Cranking. Yeah.
Yep.
Shallow?
His Oscar OG.
He was cranking an
Slim.
OG in 2018? Well, of course he made it in his fucking garage.
Yeah. That's garage.
That was funny.
That's how it did. I covered that college tournament. They liked my stuff.
And he went
then
straight
my
to the
boss was
classic
like-
from a
My
cop.
boss was like, "Hey, be at the classic in a couple weeks."
Holy shit.
And I showed up. I was there, and then at the very end of the classic, he was like, "I love your work. You did a good job. We're gonna start you at this pay rate, and come on, keep doing it." And that's how it
You didn't
started.
argue with that, huh?
That's ever since then. It's
I
been
wouldn't
game
either.
on.
That's
It's
awesome,
been-
man.
It's been like one of those things where like it just kind of falls in your lap. You just gotta be out there and give it all the time. Like give yourself and give it all you got. It
You
just
know who
kinda
that
worked
sounds
out.
like?
It just kind of worked out.
Bert. It's
I
all about luck.
It was like I was. It's one of those things like you're searching and you're trying your hardest to like produce good stuff.
That's all you can
And
do.
like be seen by somebody, and then all of a sudden it just falls in your lap, and
That's
you're just
awesome.
like,
Hell yeah.
I've tried so hard, and then this is just like it just happens so easy. It just comes out of nowhere, and then ever since then it's just been like I'm just doing my thing.
The
And
way I
they
feel
love it.
about that type of thing is like, it may feel that way, but you had all to do with it being like, that's you. That's on you, man.
Yeah.
It's just
You put in the work, you had the equipment, you had the knowledge. You
held up to your own standards too by like going and doing the trial shoot on the college shoot, and they're like, "We like your shit."
Yeah, don't
So like
fish
you
this.
you held up
Work
your
for us while-
reputation.
yeah.
Like it's a lot better than the college kid with a 4-year degree that shows up and says he can be an engineer and can't fucking do it. There's so many of those kids that have that piece of paper because they cheated their way through college and then they can't.
That
make
totally
shit
could have
happen.
been me. When you said engineering, I was like, holy shit, I would have done that if I would have continued with engineering.
Yeah.
God, man, nobody knows what the fuck they want to do when they're 18 years old.
No.
yeah.
What did you want to do when you were 18?
I was about to be a nutritionist.
Because you were old Swole Clint.
Yeah. Because I actually used
Young
to
Swole Clint, squeaky Swole Clint.
squeaking swoles.
I think we can find a picture of that.
Do I look the same? I'm wearing black. Makes me feel skinny.
Yes, sir.
I started out as a nursing degree.
I can see that. You would be a sweetheart of a nurse.
And I even, I'd be a sweetheart. I love on them so much.
You would. You'd be like,
Don't get me wrong. Oh
you'd
my
like Bethel. It's time for your eye drop. She's like, no,
We got
Bethel, it's time.
I can just see Dalton in some mint green fucking scrubs.
Yes, dude. Yes, dude.
break, boy. Bring me my pen. I gotta pee.
You look good too.
Oh,
Shit.
God, you got eat up in a nursing home now, son.
it took me about a year in the hospital to realize this ain't my call.
Oh, a whole year?
not
whole
a
year?
whole year. I said almost a year,
Oh.
maybe half a year.
Man, it would have a hospital, dude.
I took
Bro.
nursing classes. My second year in the Bass, I was still taking nursing classes.
No shit.
Thought I was still going to try to do it on the side.
A side gig of nursing. Here, you want some damn perkies?
There's part time, but I was just like, it's not worth it. I love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep doing it.
Oh, Lord, help. God bless you, man. I didn't know that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I
Pretty
thought I was
cool.
gonna keep going with it even to my second year, even through my second year.
I'd be damn. Like, do you know? Like, do you have like a background in that? Like, have you?
Nursing?
Yeah, or is that just something that you're like, I could probably get some bank
Not
doing
necessarily
this?
a background, but my first 2 years of college was nursing.
Right.
So I had a lot of education in it. And then, like I said, my second year at Bass, I continued my nursing up until the point where I had 1 year left, and I was doing like clinicals. I was in hospital.
I'd be damn.
Heck
yeah.
And then on the side, when I was not doing Bassmaster tournaments, I was working as a, what was it called? It was a PA. I forget what it stood for.
Physician's assistant.
No.
Is that not what that means?
No.
Yeah.
I thought I definitely thought that's what that means.
All I did was watch psych patients.
Oh,
I sat with them.
Psychiatric associate.
Yeah, I was. No, it wasn't that.
Doesn't psych start with a P?
yeah.
Psych. Anyway,
I don't know.
So you were watching Crazy People.
I was watching Crazy People, and then if I wasn't doing that, which it sounds more,
fun.
no, it sounds
Is that the wrong word to
it sounds
use?
more important than it really was.
It sounds
Yeah.
pretty important.
Really,
I mean,
it
dude,
was basically
even
just a side job, but like,
anything in that field can make a difference in somebody's life. That's what's cool about that type of thing.
I watch psych patients. I make sure they, weren't hurting themselves. I make sure they didn't try to run from the hospital.
I'm with you.
And then if I wasn't doing that, I was transport. It was just taking people from an upstairs room down to the to get a CAT scan or a X-ray.
That's a lot on a person. That's a lot on somebody that works in that
it was just something to get experience. But
Yeah.
But so I've had very, very little experience in that realm, but I've kind of been there a little bit. I won't go into it, but it takes a lot on a person to work in a field like that and to just put in that.
yeah,
It's not exactly emotion, but just like physical,
yeah.
like
That's why
care. I don't
give
know.
so much like props to my brother-in-law. Like he's actually the one that
100%.
after I got through my first 2 years of college doing nursing and switched, I got towards the end working for Bass, and he was like, well, if you want to do it on the side, you sure could, because he's a nurse, and he's a travel nurse, and he's a great nurse. And, he's told me all the stuff he's done and whatnot, and then it was just like, I can't do it, but there's certain people in the world that could, and you're definitely one of those people. And once I did those year in the hospital doing just like watching psychiatric patients and doing transport, it was just like not for me.
Dude,
It
I
takes
feel
a
the same.
special kind of person.
Dude, I went to college for 3 years for criminal justice, and when I figured out what it was, I was like, "That ain't for
Right.
me," and that's all it was.
You
Yeah,
still
it ain't
got
for
that
me.
degree though.
Right.
I got that degree.
He was
It said so much.
like, you can do it. You
Tell
can
me,
do it. And it
I'm
was
so
just
glad I
like,
got it. I am glad I got it.
But then you're also at a low point in careers right before you found your cool job with me.
Oh yeah, low point.
Yeah.
What I mentioned, just that dabble into that field, and it was rewarding. I can say that, like just being able to help people. Never done that before.
You can go into it a little bit, at least in general. So you,
It was
knows what you're talking
medical equipment delivery service, essentially, for hospice. So these people that were sick and dying got equipment to keep them better for the time being. I would get in a little tiny van, and I'd have a dick ton of addresses, and I got to drop off oxygen, bedside commodes. No, see, it was never any drugs. It was like inhalers, like the things they'd breathe their medicine with. Hold on. What's
Can
the
you
other
see
drug?
him rolling up to some door
Oxygen?
stand?
I'd be dropping off oxygen like a motherfucker, though. And then people hated getting oxygen.
They be like, Luann, answer the door.
100%. They hated getting oxygen. You need it. You need it. And they'd be like, what the fuck are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm giving you what you need to breathe. Bursal? Nah, there was never a bursal.
They probably
I wish
looked
there
like
was.
some Mercels.
Nah, they did though. They did. But no, it wasn't all bad. It was a lot of hours. It was good pay. I just I found this and fell in love with it immediately, and because it's like same thing with you. Like I was doing some shit that I could have done for a while.
It wasn't meant to be though.
But I found this awesome world of tournament bass fishing.
That's right.
I called up Ian and I
You
said,
didn't call me for shit. Boss man called me
Yeah.
and said,
"Hey,
"What's up?" I said, "Hello, this is Ian."
He said, Clint said you're gay."
I was like, "Oh, come on, man. He wouldn't have said that."
And then he's like, "What are you doing next week? You want to go to Florida?"
No, it was the next fucking day.
Yeah.
It was the next day. If it wasn't the next day, it was the day after next. And I was like, yeah. And that's what I've done every single time. You want to do this? Yeah. You want to do this? Yeah, I'm going. I don't say no to shit. I don't say no to a damn thing. I'm like Jim Carrey, so yes man.
Woo!
Carry yes, man. I like it.
It's a good movie.
You don't say no to a good opportunity.
Even a bad opportunity, you got to experience it. A bad thing, you got to experience, a rainy day to enjoy a sunny one.
Yeah, but
You got to experience a shitty day on Glenville to experience a good one.
Dude,
You've earned that card there, bud.
Hey! Dude,
not a fish in my
tomorrow is Dalton's day. I might take a nap on the back deck, man. Tomorrow
He might take
day.
about 5 Ian
Hey,
15s.
what's gonna happen is we're sleeping on where we want to
It'd
go
be
tomorrow.
8, a good
We're
2 hour
sleeping
nap.
on. Wait, we're sleeping on where we want to go tomorrow.
We have no idea.
We're gonna go to Hartwell. That's where we're gonna end up going.
Oh, okay.
That's where we're gonna.
All right.
We're gonna take his boat. And we're going.
He's going to drive.
We are gonna slay him.
I want to go to Kiwi. I want to go to Kiwi. If we're going down there, I think Kiwi's got the bigger largemouth.
No.
I've seen.
No.
Neri showed me a 30 upper 30 pound
There's a
bag. on
37
Kiwi.
pound bag caught out on Kiwi this
You
year.
don't know.
37 pound bag largies on Kiwi this year. I'm not saying we're gonna do that. I'm just saying that they live there. 7 pounders, 8 pounders, 9 pounders. That wasn't me.
That wasn't me.
That was me.
DT,
That was the old wifey.
DT24.
The old wifey.
DT20, son.
DT24. You know.
Oh, because he's 24 years
yeah,
old.
if he was born
I wish
in 01,
if any of you Rapala
fellers.
fellers are building,
I could say fellers.
if any Rapala fellers want to make a deeper crankbait, make it deeper than 20 foot, please.
It can't be that hard. It can't. Do you throw deep diving crankbait?
Occasionally, not very much.
Really?
No.
What the fuck?
He's more of a 5XD and below kind of guy.
No.
we got a 5XT today.
So-
Yeah, we did score one. Is it still rusting up the side of my boat?
It hasn't unrusted.
Okay.
So
Deeper
you're a
than-
fluke. You're a fluke,
Deeper
dude.
than 20? Are you saying?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
That's pretty deep. Like when I say deep diving crankbait, I'm thinking.
15.
I think 12 plus.
12 plus?
I think 12 plus is a deep diving crankbait.
I'd say occasional.
Occasionally. Okay.
There's certain times when Well, it's more of like if something else ain't working, we'll throw it out there, and it works sometimes, but it's not all the time. No.
I think it's just about every bait, Dalton.
No,
For me, at least.
It works
like,
sometimes.
No, that's like more of a, like a get them riled up kind of bait.
Okay.
Get
10-4.
Get them going.
10-4.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. So, like, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this whole heart wool thing.
Don't do it like that because I don't
Heart
like heart
wool.
wool either.
But, I mean, I can't say I don't like it because I've seen videos of the elites catching absolute donkey spots out of there.
Oh yeah, you can.
Hey, you know what
Turn
they're
up the
doing?
yawn counter. I'm at like 4 in the past 5 minutes. I'm not even tired. These yawns are hitting me in the back of the
Are
throat.
you lacking oxygen? Do I need to hit up the globe? Oh fuck! Do I need to hit up the medical
Do we have
company?
a time? Do we have a pee break? moment?
Yeah, let's just do an intermission real quick.
Tea. All right. God damn.
And we're back.
Action.
Action. We are back in business for the rest of this podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and checking out the Below Average Angler. We still got a little bit more left for you guys, some more cool stories. But if you guys don't mind, go check out the old like button, the old thumbs up, the good college try. Give that thumbs up a hit, and then check out the subscribe button too if you like what you're seeing. And we're back with our guest, Dalton Tumblin.
So Dalton, this is what I want to pry on you for. I want to know some of maybe like some personal best stories, some big fish stories. Like you don't have to go into like that super niche juice detail that's going to give away, you know, all the giant fish that you're tuned into. But I want to know, like, you know, let's start off with a large jaw. Like what's the first big largemouth that comes to mind when I say like your biggest or like a memorable one?
Largemouth.
Large jaw.
It's kind of like a kid's story. It's
Ooh,
what
nice.
got me hooked on bass fishing as far as largemouth.
Nice.
That's
Heck
what got
yeah.
me started.
All right.
And it wasn't even on the lake. That's what got me and my dad started going on the lake.
Okay.
So we had a farm pond that was right at my aunt's house. She didn't own it, but the guy who owned it let us fish it, whatever.
Very cool.
And we fished either from the bank or in a little john boat. And I caught like a 4.5 pound largemouth.
Nice.
And that was after like maybe 6 months of fishing. I was maybe 7 or 8 years old.
Got me
And I was
whooped.
just
That's
like,
awesome.
I was
That
just
is
like,
really
I'm
awesome.
hooked. I love it.
What'd you catch it on? Do you
7 or
remember?
8?
It was a Texas rig. Yeah, Texas rig. It was the green pumpkin. And
It was the green pumpkin. Was it a worm?
No,
The
no,
green pumpkin.
yeah, trick worm.
Oh shoot! Weightless, light Texas rig weight.
No, not light.
Punching that fucking.
No, I guess. Dude, I was so young.
I understand.
Maybe half
Yeah.
ounce or something.
Okay, half
I don't
ounce,
even
big
remember.
old lead
Yeah.
I
weight.
just remember
Johnny.
catching that fish.
And do you remember the
thing.
thump as a
Yes,
young man
I
like
just
that?
remember that moment. It's a
Cool.
Texas rig. My dad tied it up for me. I didn't even tie it on.
That's awesome.
Texas rig,
Good
trick
papa.
worm. That's all I remember.
Heck yeah.
He raved about throwing the pumpkin seed. That's what he called it.
That's
at
an
the
old
time.
school name,
Do
pumpkin
it out
seed.
there, and that's what got me started. And then I was just like, I love it. Let's keep doing it. And so
Very
we took
cool.
that same john boat. We started fishing on the lake, and that's
On
kind of where it
Hartwell?
all started. Greenwood.
Okay.
That's where we started.
I like Greenwood a lot. It's a cool
That's where we
place.
started.
Oh really?
I've only been
I
there
haven't
like
heard of
twice, but it's a really cool place.
In close relation to Hartwell, like is it in the same
Closer
chain?
to Columbia, right?
Yeah, not close, not really close to Hartwell. Maybe an hour or so.
East?
I don't.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I just want it's for my own brain.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Like I can totally relate with that first like real largemouth bite being from a pond. Like early high school with a buddy on a golf course. I don't even know if y'all are ready for this. Banjo minnow. I promise.
No, you did.
I did.
No, you did.
What?
Dude,
Don't
it was
even
like
start.
it was
You
like
bought one?
Don't even do that.
it happened, dude. I
You
promise.
did-
I
you
didn't,
gave
dude.
into it.
This
You
is
gave into it.
so. This is me as like,
Oh, no.
you know, growing up crappie fishing with Pepaw, catching big bluegill off the dock at mom's place, the occasional bass, but like that first like 2+, 2.5, whatever, thump. I was fishing a golf course pond, and I'd seen the Banjo Minnow commercials like everybody has, and my buddy and his dad had them. They bought the dadgum clamshell pack from As Seen on TV type thing.
Yeah.
And I rigged one up, and it was just white with a red eye, and you like swiveled the eye through the front of the bait, and then the hook went through the eye ring up front. Have you ever thrown one?
No.
Honestly, not the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
It's honestly not the it's bad, but it's not the worst thing ever. So the eye is the weight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So it's a fluke. It's a fluke on a Banjo Minnow, whatever. But I remember I was just hopping it off the bottom. I guess I was doing something kind of cool, you know. But
Kind of right.
dude, I hopped it and it just got stuck, and I was like, "Am I stuck? No, I'm not." And I just started reeling, and like up comes this bass fish, and it's like the first bass fish I ever got to lip and hold, and I was like, and it was probably. But I was fired up, so like I totally get like that first
Oh yeah.
in a pond, like
That's where it started.
it
in
gets
a pond.
it gets that adrenaline pump. You're like, I just caught like a dandy little bass, and that's where it all
I never fished a lake before then.
just never.
Never.
See,
It started in a pond.
I was spoiled, and I think Clint was spoiled because our parents had lake houses.
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, I didn't have a lake house, but that's just where my mother lived, was on the lake.
Yeah.
So it's like, you just go down to the lake. I actually, like when I was young, I'm casting a fly rod for bluegill. That's what I wanted to do. And my mom picked me up like a $50 fly combo. Like at the time, it was gold.
Oh, I bet.
Like, ooh. But like I learned how to cast it, and I had these little resin heads with the skirt coming out the side. I don't remember the name of them, but I was catching like big ass bluegill and little bass on it.
Yeah.
14, 17,
something bad.
something
I'm
like
sorry.
that.
Yeah.
Nah, you're good. But like, but coming from like the bluegill and like catching them on a fly and catching catfish and shit like that. But bass are just like that trophy animal. And it was always, when I was younger, it was always that like, oh, it's like so hard to catch a bass. And then when you're like, you can do it.
Yeah. It's a cool feeling.
Being that young and that
Yeah.
transition from like catching bluegill and catfish to I can catch bass.
Yeah.
I've got to figure out how to catch bass, but I can do it.
Yeah.
And it seems daunting at first, but you can do it.
Yeah.
And like having your dad there with you, like that's awesome to have him like probably get fired up with you, like
For sure.
at that same time.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's where it really started, and then from there it kind of generated into like, we didn't have a boat, so we'd fish like ponds with friends, small reservoirs, and then it generated into my best friend until this day, Austin Bradbury.
What's up, Austin?
So we
He better be
I
watching.
went on reservoirs with him and his dad, and that's where like I started really fishing like bigger lakes. Mm-hmm. We had a reservoir right outside of Hartwell, where it was maybe not a quarter of the size of Hartwell, but it was a lake. Mm-hmm. And so we bass fished, and that's where it got more of like the sport type bass fishing. Like you really had to, start generating more into like changing stuff up, working it different ways.
Location.
The location, time of the year.
That was the
whatever.
hardest thing.
There's so many
That's
more
where it really-
variables.
Yeah, more
Oh
variables.
my
That's where it
gosh. Don't even
started
get
into,
started
like,
on fucking
doing like different
variables.
stuff, doing different stuff to catch the bass. It's
crazy.
And that's where I was like, I love pond fishing and it's easy and I've been doing it, but it's like this right here is like I'm working for it. And it's more of like a sport.
To me, it changes
love it.
from in a pond, you go, maximum 10, 12 foot to bank.
Yeah.
And you're looking at the pond and you go, where in this pond are the fish?
Yeah.
To you're looking at a map of a lake and you're like, where the fuck would fish want to be in this
Yeah.
motherfucker? Like,
Yeah.
sorry,
Like-
I don't know. Where would they want to be in this lake? Like,
It's just
you
like
know.
from a young age, you just from that point on, you just start morphing more into like being more of a sport and like learning how to read a lake, learning how to read the time of year and what to use.
It's
and
a
how to
sport
work
that's second
it.
to none.
And that's kind of where it really started generating into like more of like where it is now, fishing big lakes and using
Huge.
your brain more than anything to like catch the fish.
Using your brain, your knowledge, electronics, baits that help you cover water,
Yeah.
baits that help you break down small sections of water.
Basically, you
Man.
can drag in 40
It's
foot of
all
water.
knowledge. It's a small amount of skill and a lot of knowledge. You
Hey.
just gotta know what you're doing.
Yeah.
and
That
where
skill,
you're at.
that skill and knowledge, they're the same. And with
just kinda
fishing,
more
I
from
think
the
they're
young
the
age.
same thing because you don't get one without the other. You don't get knowledge without the skill of how to do that technique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this kind of plays on what me and you talk about a lot is that like technique specific drive almost where you want to figure out more techniques, different techniques, fun ways to catch them, ways that you like to fish.
Yeah.
And that is, to me, that's half of it. Fishing the way you like to fish
For sure.
and confidence baits. And after that, it's location.
Yeah.
After you figure out the way you like to catch them, it's a fish. They're
Yeah.
going to eat A, B, maybe C. They're going to eat that. Location, depth, like that shit. It's a puzzle. It's
Yeah.
so cool to put it on that giant scale over time from this to this. It's awesome. I don't know. It gets me fired up.
It grows and grows.
It just like every time I
got
think
it
back,
back, yeah.
every time I think back, it's all about like, I thought it was unachievable, you know, like a dandy bass fish. I'm like regularly, and now it's like, I strive for bigger and better and more.
Yeah.
Drugs.
Yeah. The tug is a drug.
The
I feel
tug
like
is the drug
as far
for
as
sure.
like unachievable, even like the first year, 2 years, even now, especially as far as like being an elite series angler.
Oh my gosh.
Like the first year after fishing college for 3 years, I was just like, I could never do this. This is just so elite. It's crazy. It's crazy how much the difference is between
Oh, yeah.
like even a college angler that, you know, feels like they know what they're doing, feels like they know how to catch a fish, feels like they know how to look for fish.
They're just scraping
And
the
then
surface.
you go from you're literally in college fishing for college, and then you go and just follow some pros around taking pictures of them, and you're just like, if I was in a college event right now, which I'm supposed to be, maybe, I wouldn't know to do that. That's great. How do they know? Where does that come from? It's just like there's so much knowledge to it.
We could talk about this for hours.
It's such a big,
It's
broad
crazy.
subject. It's just crazy.
The crazy thing to me, and it's got to be like history on a body of water, but how do anglers know to run 90 miles? 60, 90. How do they know to run 2 hours in one direction, stay
It's
there all
like
day? and
Jason
then run?
Christie on the Sabine River. Jason Christie.
You
brought my
just grabbed
all
the
the
thought
guys-
out of my
yeah.
brain. 100%.
Here's my
How does he know? How do they know they're going to be up in the shit?
And that's on a very tough fishery where
Where
like a 2-pounder's a biggin.
A biggin. Where 9 pounds is like, oh, dude, you got them today.
yes.
9 pound, 10 pound
This
bag.
is the weirdest. This is the weirdest thing and the weirdest
That's
feeling.
Texas.
It's like when you're there covering them with a camera, and they're an elite series angler, and they travel 90 miles. They go an hour and a half run. When they start doing what they're doing, and you're covering with the camera, you're like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that's totally perfect. You're doing good. You're gonna win. That's awesome. Especially like day before final day, you're like, oh, that makes perfect sense. You're doing what's gonna win. If you do the same thing tomorrow, you got it. But if you're, any other angler that's going on a tournament on that lake, how do you know how to do that in the first place?
Yeah.
It's just like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
It's just like
I don't know.
So it makes them elite.
The level of just like
Elite.
prestige
Yeah.
that they are, that they do that stuff. When you're watching it, you're like, that's perfect sense.
That's a fisherman
You're
on a
on
pedestal
something.
right there.
And I'm sitting here looking at it on my boater's boat while I'm covering it. He's got Panoptics. We're sitting there looking at what you're looking at over there. And they're all down there. It's perfect. You're doing the great thing. But
It's
if
so
you
cool.
didn't know it
It's so
beforehand,
cool.
how did you do it?
It's so cool.
Yeah.
When you put it that way and you
It's so
actually think about what goes into it to win that blue
How
trophy.
smart
To
you
win,
gotta be
to win an
figure it out
open.
on your own.
To win an open against 250 boats, the opens.
Roughly 200, 250.
The opens have to be the Elite Series, of course, you're looking at 90 to 100 of the best of the best of the best in the world. But the opens, when it's 250 guys wanting to be the best of the best of the best of the world,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
And you take
shit.
50 or 100 or so,
Yeah.
50 to 100 of those guys that are locals on that reservoir
Right.
At least.
that
Just
know
like-
that.
Yeah,
Just-
because they.
Like before a tournament, just like getting to that point of just like, that's where I'm gonna fish. That's what I'm doing. That's what's gonna win me this, tournament.
Can we talk about Brandon
it's just-
Polnick on the Potomac? And that
That's what I'm
fact,
talking about. Like just knowing,
camping out,
figuring it out. Is
Yeah.
just unreal.
just camping
I
out.
was on the
and-
James River. Are you talking about this year?
Oh, that was not. Yep, you're
Not the Potomac,
100,
yeah.
100. I get those two mixed up.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
Virginia.
James River. I watched it
Brandon Polnick?
Yeah.
Talking about just about
in the open.
half the tournaments he's fished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that one, just because I was there and you watched it, like you watched
I
it and
filmed it
relayed it to
live,
me,
yeah.
like, how did he know just to chill, stand his ground? They're gonna come to him, and he's gonna fucking win it.
And he did.
Kidding. Exactly.
That's just something.
such an
That's almost
unreal-
something that people like us can't really wrap our heads around. Can you? Could
I
you have
can't.
sat there all day?
I can't.
Could you have moved out and fished some bullshit and then ran back up in there a couple of times during the day, and just made da 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 da? Not right now.
If it was on Glenville,
But you wouldn't have known.
I would have stayed right where I was at today.
We would have camped there all day, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
And we'd have probably had 15 pounds.
But you take that where from one run to the next is 4 miles. And I found one spot on that lake that I wanted to be on today. He just found that in a stretch of hundreds of miles. He found one spot he wanted to be in.
But how do you know it was there? He doesn't live there. We live here.
Exactly.
How's it?
That's what's
That's what separates. I mean, and it is miles of separation.
I've seen him. So I covered him when he caught that giant 7.5 pounder on Santee.
Yeah.
When he won Santee.
You watched that, didn't
Yes. Yeah.
The dude was not even supposed to start there. Wasn't even supposed to start there.
No.
That was a kind of a all of a sudden decision to go there, and was fishing brush piles. And the first start of the morning, I'm covering him. And
you? It was on jerkbait, wasn't it?
I'm thinking nothing
No,
much
that was the first day. Go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry.
I was thinking nothing much is happening. Like he's about to spin out in this spot.
And all of a sudden, he just loads up on it.
And then he throws a drop shot in a brush pile. Hooks up on a 7.5 pounder.
Has that ever happened to you?
And he committed.
Me neither.
He went 30, 45 minutes, an hour maybe. I can't even remember. It was a long time with not really even catching anything, and just still committed to it, and was just hooked up.
Did he
And
win
there it
Santee?
was. Yeah,
Yeah,
he did win
He
Santee.
won that one.
He won the shit out of that one
He
too.
won it. I was just like, oh my God. If I spent 30, 45 minutes in one space, didn't catch anything, my confidence would be gone.
But
And
how
I
much
would
ground did he
probably
cover
go-
in that hour?
Not a lot.
Stay really small area?
Just a small area, yeah.
That's wild. That's what.
Hooked up on that 7.5 pounder on a drop
How many
shot.
How many times do you think
He
that-
lost a really big one that day too, right? One of the days he lost a really big one
I wasn't
on
there.
Santee.
I wasn't there. I don't know.
I didn't see him.
I watched him make the fish mistake that day on first day. He had 6 fish in the live well.
yeah.
This was the
6
last day when he caught that big one.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Where were you when Dollar Bill won Pickwick?
I was on him.
You filmed that?
I got the shots of him catching that 9-pounder.
No shit.
Yeah, I got the.
That was you?
That was me that took the pictures.
I just watched that the other day too.
Yeah.
I was just
Bill.
chilling at my house.
I
watched
like that dude so much. He is such a good
Oh
dude.
my
That's-
God.
To this day, that's one of my favorite tournaments I've ever covered. And every day up until then, it was such a grind. It was so hard because I was covering the dam.
Oh,
Oh
It
my
was
God.
so much
On
work.
Pickwick, dude?
Yeah, it was so much work battling that current, especially in the boat that I was in. And then,
So you're on a camera boat. You weren't like on an angler's boat.
no, I was on a camera boat.
Okay.
Yes. And it was so much work battling that current, trying to stay
I
close
couldn't
to it.
fathom.
I'd have been on the
And-
bank with my drone.
What- and like the conditions.
Get that thing away from me.
Yeah.
Bzzz.
Like what those anglers were in up above us was just crazy enough. We had the boat on spot lock, and it was still drifting us down at like
I
a
am
mile an hour.
sure.
It was ridiculous. And then the last day made
I'd have been
up for
in
it all
gear.
because I got to follow Bill Lowen,
cool.
and then he caught that giant, and it was just miraculous. Like his reaction, the fish, all of it was
Everything.
just outstanding. And then
And a guy that has deserved to
we
win
just
so
knew
bad.
at that moment, and I was in the camera taking the pictures, just like wanting to
Give him a hug.
cheer
Yeah.
at the same time, but I was just like, I can't do it. I got to take the pictures. Help
That
him
takes
out.
some mental self-control
And then-
right there, too.
It was just such a cool moment to watch through the lens, take the pictures, and then afterwards it was just like, oh my God, the dude just won his first Elite Series, and he's been going at it for how long now?
Who knows?
Were you taking
Like
pictures on him?
20, 30 years?
So I watched it. A while. I watched it when he was just trigger happy, like old Clint. Just
Yeah.
everything felt like a dadgum bite, dude. He was ripping on it. But every once in a while, it was a bite. And he upgrade again that day? After that, he got a limit? Did he,
He
upgrade
struggled
much?
to get a limit.
After
It was
that,
tough.
it was tough after that.
But the conditions changed so much in those 3 days or 4 days.
The TVA, man. I still haven't really fished it. Like, I really want to fish Pickwick. Bad. But, have you not?
No, I haven't.
Man, I was at the ABT on Pickwick and just saw hammers. That was during the same weekend of the Elite at Knoxville that you were at. I went from Pickwick to there. They crushed them. 28 pounds of them, I think mostly smallmouth with a mixed bag on a trap and a chatterbait, dadgum jackhammer. Whoo!
It's crazy.
Dude, what the fuck? I would love to do that. Yeah. Oh my gosh. But man, they're good, man. It's dadgum tournament fishermen.
So what makes those elites elite?
I would like, before I die, I would like to win a tournament. I don't give a fuck what level it's at. You've done it a couple of times, haven't you?
A couple, but not at a big level.
It don't matter at a big level. I don't give a fuck if it's fishing against me, you, and Jason. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would, but I mean, I'm gonna get my dick kicked in fishing against Jason.
Yeah.
Dadgum, man. That's awesome. That's so cool that you were on Dollar Bill, man. That's sick. That's so
Still
sick.
one of my favorites.
Dude,
cool.
your career is really something to cherish, and
Yeah. And
don't
you're-
take that
you're-
shit for granted. That's so cool.
No,
I know you don't. I know you
it's
don't.
fun.
And you're
Sick.
still getting started too. Like it's still just the
doubt.
beginning, man.
No doubt.
Like there's so
I'm the young gun, by far. Yeah.
and he's got the young gun, son. Look at him fucking hand.
I honestly, it winked at me like a little bit ago, that bicep winked at me, and I was like,
There's
okay,
nothing there.
I won't look directly at it.
I am definitely the scrawniest one here.
No, you are not, dude.
He's got the least amount of meat on his bones.
For sure.
We got some extra padding. But man, it's been fun, man. We need to wrap this up. That way all these
Sure,
people that
sure.
don't want to watch this thing for
3 hours,
3
like
hours.
we could sit here.
Yeah, we could definitely
bullshit.
sit here. We will for
I'd watch
later.
it for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Well, we probably will.
Yeah.
But
It'll have 3 views. At least
man,
us 3.
I just want to touch on congratulations on the wedding
Yeah.
Oh,
and
thanks.
the
Congrats on
marriedness
getting
of the
married.
man. I feel you on that. Give me that left hand bump.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Well, I just want to say,
Empty there.
I just want to say thank y'all for taking me out fishing today, and just we had a great time.
Damn
and
straight.
Just making memories and just being friends. It was fun.
It
Had
will
a-
not
had
be
a
the
great
last time, and
It
I'm
won't.
sure
It
we'll be sat in front of this camera again.
It's been a
sometime
long
soon.
time coming. I'm finally glad I made my way up here.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna let this weekend come to pass, so made it happen.
For sure.
Heck right,
That
buddy.
happened, dude. Let's give her a big old
Cheer.
Let's do it.
Bush beer. Cheers.
Love you, boys. Cheers.
Love you. And thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of the Below Average Angler Podcast. I'm Clint Bartlett.
Ian Freeman. Dalton Tumblin. Tune in next week for some more fucking whatever the fuck.
I don't know. I'll figure
Yeah.
out how it works at some point.
Yeah. One of these days we'll learn how to use a camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peace. Boom!
That's another one in the books.
Bam!
I feel like I was too slurry.
No,
Oh, shit, I wasn't
thanks,
recording.
buddy.